name's Oliver Rose, and I've been collaborating with Paul on a couple of things on his Apps4EFL site. Just for my background, so before working with Paul, I was designing some apps. So one was for kanji, a couple were for kanji, under the name Kanji Games, if you want to have a look, they're on there. Another one was, from that I made kind of a variation which you could import vocab into, of any language from Quizlet, and that's called PhraseBot. And that's a very nice app, I'm using it a lot with my students. But the limitation is that these are primarily for self-study, so they're not kind of hooked into a system like Apps4EFL where the teacher can monitor the practice easily. So I wanted to apply some of the ideas for my designs of these to some activities within Paul's system. So let's have a look at one of them called Griddle. So this is the design. Can you read the text from back there? Okay. So it's based on a combinatorial input method, similar to my PhraseBot app. So the idea is you have to combine the different words to create a sentence for a word. You can put different kinds of data in there. You can put, I'll show you the other examples after, but let me go through these. So it has a simple layout to suit responsive design for any screen layout or orientation. So my PhraseBot app has some different kind of different shapes and more complicated sort of hexagon layout. But for these HTML5 games, it's better to really keep the design just as simple as possible so that you're not going to have problems with all the different device sizes, for Apple and for computers, whatever. So nice kind of simple grid. You can use the swipe gesture, so you can either just sort of tap them separately, or you can use the kind of Fruit Ninja style swiping to join the letters together. Allows for many different combinations, and the design also has enough space on each tile to allow for complete words or single letters. There's another mode, so this mode shows the whole word on the tile, but I'll show you another way, another design with just the first and last letters. Okay, but firstly, for single words, you can use it like this. So these are from data imported from Quizlet. So it's basically a two-sided flashcard. So you have the cue and the answer. Okay, so in the first example, you can see on one side of the flashcard is the Japanese plus a closed sentence, and you create the word. With the current design, if there are more words than there are tiles, they're chunked on the first couple. I think maybe we'll refine that later and make it randomized so it doesn't kind of give away the initial letters. In the other one, you can see you can have a picture of the cue. By the way, feel free to ask questions as we go. Just yell out if you want. Okay, so vocab practice is really important, but I kind of wanted to move beyond that to having students practice sentences, because often students have a really good vocabulary, but they have a lot of trouble just stringing sentences together. So you can see some examples here. Here we have, you can see all of the component words on there. You have to still think about it and put them in the correct order. If there are less words in the sentence than there are tiles, then there are distractors. You'll see distractors on the tiles as well. I think they're just common words, aren't they? Mm-hmm. The distractors are taken from just a short list of very common English words. And the second one looks a bit strange, but has a big benefit in that the student can't answer the question from recognizing the vocab. So they have to actually be thinking of the answer, and once they have the answer, they can easily input the target answer. Okay, so this in other ways of inputting answers for sentences are kind of problematic, and I'll go through those in a moment. Here's just another example, sentences from picture cues. They don't have to be grammar translation. You can have different kinds of prompts. It could be question and answer, or kind of conversational, kind of a dialogue kind of thing. I like using these ones with my kids, so they go through and they learn their sentences first, but they're stimulated by the silly pictures. So.
Where do you get your images?
Just Googling random stuff, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, just takes a bit of searching, but a lot of cartoons, just Google cartoons and stuff. So. I've got some sets on Quizlet if you want. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, the different input methods. So, so this is quite a unique input method. The usual kind of input method is typing. It's really inconvenient, especially on mobile phone. And the task challenge is so high. If they make any kinds of mistakes, any spelling mistakes, or even add an extra space or something, that's going to screw up the, the algorithm recognizing it as the correct answer. There's also other problems, like there's just different possible translations. They might put in a perfectly acceptable alternative translation. But with the Griddle method, it's kind of limited to one particular answer. So, so that's a good limitation. They won't put in what would be an acceptable variant, but be kind of refused. Another really common one is having a scrambled sentence. So yeah, it's really convenient to input. But it's not really very challenging because the person's getting all of the vocab. It's the same as one of the Griddle methods where you see all of the words on the tiles, and it doesn't require active recall of words. But if you use the first and last letters mode, then that is that's quite challenging. So if you have the words shown on the tiles, then it's not so challenging. You can connect them. If you have the first and last letter shown, then it is quite hard. Flashcards. By that I mean just using flashcards in the normal way, where you look at the question and then you try and think of the answer and turn it over and see the answer. Check for yourself. Okay, that's very kind of convenient input. There's no input, or maybe there's a I got it right, I got it wrong kind of response after. But the task challenge is very high, and one of the drawbacks is you can't really track the use. Can't track whether the person's got it right or wrong or not. So also, if you're doing something like using Quizlet to see if the students have been using the flashcards, you'll only be able to see if they have gone there and flicked through that stack. You won't actually know if they got it right or wrong or anything. So this kind of input provides some different kinds of interactions than other things out there. So this is the one that's used really commonly by Duolingo or Memrise and everything. So it's a very common input method, but yeah, the drawback is that they don't actually have to come up with the component vocabulary. So it's not very popular with English teachers, so native-speaking English teachers. I think, unfairly, I think it's actually one of the best kinds of production practice there is, controlled production practice. So one benefit is engagement. So it's commonly sort of criticized as being boring, but Duolingo uses this kind of method, and it's got 100 million users, so maybe that's not actually true. When I use it myself, I find it quite engaging and it's quite creative. It's not really just like recalling vocab. If you're trying to recall a sentence, that's a creative act of coming up with that translation, of coming up with the word meanings and the combination and all of the different elements. Another benefit is that it demands active recall, providing output practice. So you have to integrate your knowledge of vocab and grammar to construct complete meaningful expressions in L2. So often we have a lot of tasks with sentences, things like Murphy's grammar books and things like that. They consist of closed tasks. So it's not really the level of knowledge and language ability that won't help them develop the level of language ability to be able to use language productively. So I think it's a kind of good intermediate step, kind of translation tasks between those kind of lower level closed tasks and actually speaking. It gives you immediate feedback. So we can have students doing sentence output tasks like just talking or doing writing, but we can't give, all of our students in the class individual feedback immediately all the time, whereas with these kinds of tasks, they can get feedback immediately. And another benefit is the focus. So we can change the focus of the target language to be practiced, whereas if we're doing freer tasks like getting them to write a paragraph, sure, that's good production practice, but they might really avoid a lot of the kind of target items that we want them to be using. So if you've got specific grammar points or whatever you want them to do, then this is the good focused way to do it. So even though it's been very unfashionable for a long time, there is kind of more of a movement recognizing that it is valuable, and there's a really good book by a guy called Translation in Language Teaching. So if you're interested in some more of these arguments for why it can be useful, check that out. So I've used it with students in my classes, and this was their response. So you can see the purple ones, 70% of the students said it was very enjoyable. So that's good. Grammar practice, very enjoyable. Not many students normally say that about forms of grammar practice, I don't think. 38% said it was quite enjoyable. That's pretty good. 34% so-so. Oh, that's not too bad. And only 10% said it was not very enjoyable. So I think it's a pretty good result for what's normally considered pretty dry or difficult kind of practice that we still think is quite necessary for them to do. And this being via Apps4EFL, it's something that we can assign for homework. They can do in their own time. We can have them do it in class or for homework, and we can track their progress and see the kinds of items that they're having the most trouble with. And that is it. Do we have any questions?
So did you also, or maybe you haven't yet, but are you planning on trying to measure the effect of this grammar practice on their actual grammar skills somehow?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great.
It's tricky.
Yeah, how do you do that? I mean, if you have a I guess maybe, yeah, there's different ways, but I just don't know if they're going to capture their overall grammar ability or if it's going to just be affected by the specific task that you choose to test them on. So, yeah, I'll try and do it, but I don't think that you could come up with a really definitive results easily.
About how many students are you using? 47?
A couple of classes, yeah.
Okay.
A couple of biggish classes at the moment, but with more in the future.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I should say too, all of the coding was Paul, so it was my idea and a lot of data that I contributed and feedback and stuff like that. But, yeah, just all technical stuff. Okay.